it's rolling. Oh, hi! Welcome to today's episode of A&J Today. I'm Jenny.
Hi, I'm Ashley. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
If there's one thing that you could have told yourself before you went out, what would it be? And limit your answer to 2 minutes.
There's so many things. I think the number one thing that I would have told myself was, don't get caught up in worrying about things that are cultural to what you know at home. I think that's probably the biggest struggle with missionaries when you get in the field. You see a lot of stuff. It's not that it's wrong, it's just different than the way your ward at home did things, or the way your parents did things, or the way. And sometimes there's a place, a time and a place for you to bring that knowledge into the discussion when you're talking with people or supporting the members of the church in other countries and in other cultures. However, sometimes there's things that you do, it's just another way to do it. It doesn't mean that what they're doing is wrong. For me, the biggest change was that most of my companions didn't even speak English. I'm going to a place where I've had more life experience in some ways and more education in some ways than they had, but they had other experiences that were just as valuable. And I think one of the growing experiences on my mission was to really recognize how that all fit together and just kind of, what is actually doctrinal and what is cultural. Because there is a difference there. And some things, I think they get confused sometimes,
I just was so blessed to have some amazing companions. I was just talking to Lauren earlier today about...
Lauren is our illustrious camerawoman.
She's such a babe.
Who also served in the Philippines.
She'll be on screen someday, I'm sure. I can just sit there and admire you talking about stuff.
It might be a little laughter.
I was just telling her today though that Heavenly Father knew what I needed, because I had a trainer that was very difficult and very disobedient, and she was from the country. She was Filipina, and so my just ridiculous quick judgment was, and fear also was, oh my gosh, this is the culture, this is how all the women are going to be here. And so I was actually praying, please, if it's your will, please just let me have an American follow-up trainer. And I didn't get one, thankfully. And I had this beautiful blessing that came in this little tiny body called Sister Flores that was also a Filipina. And it was such a wake-up call for me to be like, okay, whatever idea you have of what this culture is, just let it go and embrace it fully. And that just made the difference for the rest of my time serving. And I adore the Filipino culture. I adore it. And I was telling Lauren earlier that I came home and it was such a hard adjustment to come back and to go into American culture. That's a whole different segment for a different day. I could talk for hours about that.
Because there's so many funny, and some of it's really funny too as you get to learn. But yeah. I think the things that I can chuckle about my mission, I'm not mocking or making fun of the things that are the differences, just how naive I was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If I could go back and say something, it would be, don't allow yourself to be a distraction from the work, because I would get so in my head about not sounding dumb in front of someone that it would distract from whatever we were teaching, because I'd be thinking about it. And maybe they didn't notice, but for me, when I was so worried about what the words were coming out of, because the language did not come easy for me. I thought the gift of tongues was going to be this beautiful, I'm in country, listen to me, here we go. It's not that way. Not for me anyway. Maybe someone else was a lot holier than me, but I was shoot, it's just me out here. Anyway.
That's a huge thing though for missionaries, right? They don't. Yeah. I don't think they realize that you're still yourself. You don't go out there and suddenly look at me, be somebody else, because I am a missionary. I got out there and I'm still me. But it's me that was called. And I think when I kind of got to the point where I was comfortable with that, it's me and my thinking and my knowledge and my testimony that has been called out here, and that my efforts will be magnified by the Spirit and magnified by the Lord. And that is that leap of faith, that kind of step from what you know out to what you don't know in the darkness, right? And you just have to have a sense of humor.
Yes,
I think
that's
was
the
most
hugest thing.
Fun was looking back. I mean, I can laugh and about the enjoyable parts of my mission. You know, there were some parts that were challenges, but the truth is I was really blessed to just have fantastic companions, you know, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. I think when they say forget yourself and go to work, what they really mean is don't get so hung up in your own personal comfort, your own inadequacies, your own weaknesses. Like, move forward and share the strength that you do have with the world. And so I love how President Hinckley, he said it best when he said something along the lines of, you know, bring what you have and we'll just add to it. You know, we'll just build from there. Really, as a missionary, that's kind of what you're doing. And missionaries that move forward with that kind of love are able to move mountains. And you know, when we talk about moving mountains, I don't mean like picking up this mound of dirt and moving it, unless it's P-Day service. But you know, that whole move this mountain of disbelief and help these people to feel strengthened and buoyed up in their faith.
That's really interesting. I've never thought about that way. Basically, Jenni and I loved our missions.
Yes.
We loved them.
Do you ever have dreams about going back?
All the time. But we just loved our missions to death.
Good.
There's such an excitement around missionaries, and I kind of feed off of that still. Like, I just love being around people who are getting ready to serve. There's just an energy that's there, and I just feel every conference that comes, I just feel this like urgency that just like increases inside of me, that I'm like, we have to let people know about Christ. But we just want you to feel prepared. And I know right before I served, I was looking at anything I could possibly find to help me feel like, okay, do I have the whole checklist? Do I have everything? So these segments hopefully will help you to get some information about things that maybe you haven't thought about before. Signing off, the vacuuming man, Ashley and Jenni.
Jazzy!
Hello!